Hello, hi. Hello, hi, friend. This is Rahul. Welcome to Reliable Immigration Guide. What he's talking about is Ontario employer job. So, who can apply? So, those who are already in Ontario, in Canada, they can apply. And then they said there will be some technical errors that you after COVID-19 talk about uh, OINP, the program which is this just started and it got closed. The web page, the submission process got closed in 1 hour, and yeah, those who are able to submit their application, they still have 14 days to complete the whole procedure. I mean to say, they have 14 days to submit their all the documentation, whatever they need to complete the whole your application for OINP. So what do you mean by OINP? That's an Ontario Immigration Nominee Program, and they do have some streams where we are going to talk about it. So the first stream that about OINP is, which is everybody's talking about, is Ontario Employer Job Offer stream. So employer job offer. So what does that mean? So who can apply? So those who are already in Ontario, in Canada, they can apply absolutely, and those who are not in Canada, they can still apply in the same stream. So the OINP says that it's priority queue application submission. So those who able to submit their application, and once the quota completed, and then you will see there will be, you cannot submit the application in the OINP stream. OINP recommends few stuff to remember. They says that don't use the phone to submit the application or submit the whole procedure. Then they said there will be some technical errors that you need to aware about it. And like last time, there was the same criteria and the same procedure they started in. It was there on March 3rd, but it got really bad technical error and they stopped the procedure. So very important thing about submission the OINP application is, there is after COVID-19, like still we have COVID-19, but whenever they start the forms and everything, it's all changed. So they got a new form. So that's why OINP recommend you to download the new application form and submit the same. If you are going to submit the wrong, like the old application format, you're going to get rejection. So I know there will be a thing on the old application or the every application of OINP that this application will be fine for next 6 months, but not after COVID-19. They changed the criteria, they changed something in the forms, so they want you to apply a new OINP form. You submit the application and you are go through it, like once you are done successfully, you are having 14 days to complete the whole application procedure. So you need to submit all the documents, whatever they needed. So documents like identity documents, your status in Canada if you're in Canada, proof of fund, your job offer letter, your employer forms. So what do you mean by employer form? What kind of employer form do we need it? So employer also needs to submit the form for you, which is like employer like section B, which includes RCI, so regulatory compliance information from section B. The employer needs to fill that, and they wanted to check whatever the employer running the business, he should compliance the Ontario Employment Standard Act 2000, and also he is following the Ontario Health and Safety Act. So that's why he needs to fill the form for you. So most important thing is, what are you going to do if you have a technical difficulties while filling the forms? So once you have that 14 days, and if you are having any technical problems, don't worry about it. We don't need to get panic. What you need to do is, they have mentioned on their webpage that you need to send an email to Ontario nominee@ontario.ca, which we need to send screenshots, whatever the problem you are getting, then what kind of error are you getting it, and date stamp when did you get that error. Because if you're getting an error, you're not going further, right? So they should know, okay, you submitted the form on July 21st and you still have 14 days, but you got an error after 2 days, so you are not able to go through it, but you still have 14 days. So they will get to know that, okay, he got an error after 2 days, so that's why he's stuck somewhere. So you need to send a date stamp with that, and all the details, whatever the problems you are having it, like what kind of error, you can see that, and you are going to send the screen. We will have a overview of OINP categories. So there are few categories under the OINP. So human capital category, which includes the Ontario Express entry stream. Then you can have we have a French speaking skilled worker stream. Then we have express entry skilled trade system. So what do we need? Minimum requirements, whatever the CRS minimum requirements, we need to have it. Then if you are going through the French speaking worker stream, then we need to have a 6 bands in French language, and we don't need a job offer letter. Yeah, we don't need a job offer letter if you have the minimum requirements. And what about skilled trades? So the skilled trades, you need to be in the pool already, the express entry pool. Then you should have the Canadian experience class. You should have the Canadian experience. So you should have the experience that you worked in Canada and living in Ontario. And what kind of NOC, like what kind of skill trades are you talking about? So the NOC 2172, NOC 2173, NOC 2174, then NOC 2175, NOC 2147, and 0213. They are eligible through this stream. Documentation requirements. So we all know we need documents to complete the whole application and get into the pool. So we need a notification from Express Entry, Ontario Express Entry. Then we need to have an identity documents. Then we need to have a document of status in Canada, like if you're on study permit, if you're on work permit, if you're on whatever the status you should have. So you should have a proper status in Canada before applying it. Then what are the education criteria and education documentation. Then we need to have a language document, and we need to have the employment letter, like experience. And if you need a job offer, then we need to have a job offer letter from employer, and the proof of funds. So we need to have the proof of funds too. And one more thing about international graduate, and there is one more international graduate program in which who can apply under this stream. Those who completed the masters in Ontario, those who completed PhD, doctorate in Ontario, they can apply under this stream, and they don't need a job offer letter. Yeah, they don't need a job offer letter if you have masters and if you have PhD in Ontario. Alright, so we will go deep into the employer job offer categories. So who can apply and what we need? So international students, so those who came on a student visa and those who able to find a job in Ontario, so they can apply. They are eligible to go and apply from the same stream. They just need a job offer letter from the employer, and it should be in a demand, and then we should have it in a demand stream. So what do you mean by demand stream? So we should have agriculture or construction experience, needs all the documents, but they need a permanent job offer letter from the employer. Yeah, employer from Canada with all his documents and a permanent job offer letter to the guy who is not in Canada. Is business stream. So those who have a plan to establish or run the business in Ontario, they can apply the OINP business stream. They can apply under the OINP business stream. So just a little bit idea about what do you mean by business stream, what are the documents they need, and what kind of eligibility you should have it. So those who wants to run the business in Ontario, they will get a temporary work permit, not the permanent residence. Yeah, they will get a temporary work permit, so they can start the business, they can run the business, and once you satisfy the OINP, then only they will give you a permanent OINP, and then you can apply for the PR. So the candidate should have high net worth of more than 8 lakh Canadian dollars, and he should invest of Canadian dollars 5 lakh Canadian dollars to start the business in Ontario. And this is not about create a business. This is all about how many employees you are going to hire it. So if you just start the business and go and start like, okay, I'm going to do the business by myself, like just go and open the coffee shop or just go and start something technical work or something, and then you're going to just work by yourself or your family. But this is not the case. You should create a job for at least minimum two or three employees, or more than that. That depend upon you. So that's the criteria. So business management level experience, then your net worth should be more than 8 lakhs Canadian dollar, and you are going to invest around more than 5 lakh Canadian dollar, and you are going to create jobs there. At least you are going to hire 2 to 3 Canadians to run the business. Yes. And lastly, the most important question is time duration for the whole procedure. So there are time durations which is generally different for the whole different streams, but they are like 60 to 90 days, and depend upon the business stream. It's all depend upon, because the business stream is going to get their business strategy, business plan, then they will get the temporary work permit, then they're going to start the business, and it will go from there. And once you have the temporary work permit, then you have to satisfy the OINP, then only you will get the OINP, and then you can apply for PR. So that duration of period will be different, so which is not related to the other stream, but normally it will take around 60 to 90 days. And for the masters, for the international students who did completed their masters and PhD, it's only takes less than 60 days, like 30 days to 60 days only.